Bom dia a todos. Good morning. It is my privilege, in name of our President, Professor Celso Laffer, to welcome all the participants of this meeting, and very especially the members of the American delegation of the University of California, Davis, our members here in the table, Professor Henrique, Professor Dodd. So welcome. Actually, this meeting started yesterday in the football. Yeah. And it's nice to remember that in this area of soccer, football, Brazil is a good player. No? He's very well recognized as a top player. In science, we are starting. We are starting. But I believe as the US, that is also a initial player in soccer.
You made it out of the first round.
Yeah, in few years, maybe not too long, US can be one of the winners of the World Cup, and Brazil can be one of the top 10 in science, no?
Yes.
No, not good.
The odds are better we'll be in the top 10 in science than we win the World Cup. Yeah, well.
But anyhow, the increasing the collaboration of science in the state of São Paulo is one of the priority of FAPESP. And I believe this FAPESP week has been an excellent mechanism to really bring together the scientists and to initiate collaboration. And with Davis, this has been a very nice and excellent example of collaboration that we are having. I meant to mention that the FAPESP week we start in 2011, and we held several meetings in the United States, in Washington, in Morganton, Cambridge, Charlotte, Raleigh, Chapel Hill in San Francisco, and also in different places of the world. We had FAPESP week in Toronto, Salamanca, Madrid, Tokyo, London, Beijing, Munich, and Buenos Aires. But this is the first edition of the FAPESP week here in São Paulo, and we are very happy that this happened with the Davis, with the University of California in Davis. But this is not surprise, because we maintain a long and very profitable collaboration with Davis. And we can say that we have already 60 scientific collaboration initiatives that we support between the two institutions. And since December 2012, the two institutions have a cooperation agreement to encourage this interaction between research groups to prepare projects and share finances. And of course, this meeting followed the FAPESP week that we had in California last November 2014, in Davis and Berkeley. And in addition to the friendly reception that we had there, we addressed discussion on renewable energy, new materials, education, health, and state-society relations. Today, the scientific topics that we will address are neuroscience, cancer research, particle physics and matters, material and chemical science, food and agriculture, water and energy. And I need to say that FAPESP has the honor of hosting scientists with great scientific expression in their research areas, linking to preeminent research centers such as the USA Davis Imaging Research Center, the World Food Center, Eagert Center for Climate Change, Water Society, among other no less important departments of the Davis, UK. And from Brazilian institution, we have here the Instituto Nacional de Pesquisas Espaciais, INPE, the AC Camargo Center, Cancer Center, Translational Research Center for Oncology of the School of Medicine, University of São Paulo, and 3 CEPIDs. The CEPIDs are Research, Innovation, and Dissemination Center, And these 3 CPIDs are on cancer, glass, and food research support. So, in finishing, I am sure that this FAPESP week in UC Davis in Brazil will promote a fruitful discussion between Brazil and American scientists on research results, and certainly will expand our cooperation and more exchange of experience between our institutions. Professor Brito is the captain of our scientific team. He will give more details of how we will play in the future in science. So thank you very much. Sejam bem-vindos. You are all welcome. Thank you.
Now we are going to listen to Paul Dodd. He's the Associate Vice Chancellor for Interdisciplinary Research and Strategic Initiatives at UC Davis. Paul.
Thank you, Brito. So I'll just make a few brief comments because I think Harris is going to give a short presentation on behalf of UC Davis. First of all, again, we're delighted to be here. I want to thank particularly Marcelo Nobel, my colleague from Unicamp, who has been working with me and some other colleagues at the Office of Research at Davis in setting the agenda and working on this over quite a few months, actually, it took. But we're delighted to be here. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues, the 16 or 17 or so people that have traveled from Davis. We've a very interesting group. As you can see from the agenda, it's certainly very diverse and highly interdisciplinary. So just really wanted to say that I would like to acknowledge FAPESP and what an amazing job you folks are doing here. We interact with a lot of funding agencies worldwide, either national agencies from Europe or elsewhere. But I'd have to say I can't think of a single agency that has done more to project their region's research forward than FAPESP. So everywhere I go in the world, we meet with colleagues in Europe. People say, oh, FAPESP were here a month ago, or FAPESP are coming next month. So I think it's amazing, and it's really helping put Sao Paulo research on the map. So we're delighted to be here, and we look forward to engaging in good discussions and hopefully fruitful collaborations over the next couple of days or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Now we'll have Harris Lewin. Harris is the Vice Chancellor for Research at UC Davis, and he's a very good friend of FAPESP and of research in Brazil. And he has done many things to help us and to create opportunities for developing the collaborations between scientists in São Paulo, Brazil, and scientists at UC Davis, and also in his previous post at Illinois, University of Illinois. That's where we met initially. So Harris is going to present us some information about the research at UC Davis. Harris.
Good morning. And first, let me offer my thanks also to FAPESP, Dr. Krieger, Professor Brito, for their hospitality and organizing us to our delegation to visit. And also, of course, to my colleague Paul Dodd and Marcelo Nobel for their outstanding work in organizing all of the details and putting this fantastic group of people together and this great presentations. I'm sure you're all going to be really enjoy the program in these next 2 days. I also want to thank all of you who have made the effort to fight the traffic and come here to this event and to listen and to learn. I'm going to begin by just giving a few facts, some information about UC Davis, for those of you who are not too familiar with our campus. We are one of the 10 campuses of the University of California. We're located in Northern California. Many Brazilians don't know that. So when they come to visit, they fly into Los Angeles and they think they can drive very easily to our campus. It's happened before. But they find out it's 350 miles, almost 800 kilometers from Los Angeles. So if you do come to visit us, make sure you fly to San Francisco and not Los Angeles to visit us. But we are, again, part of a large system that is arguably the greatest public university system in the world. And the campus has 4 separate colleges, 7 different professional schools, 102 undergraduate majors, 90 different graduate programs, interdisciplinary graduate groups. We have more than 25,000 undergraduate students, greater than, it's actually about 1,900 tenure-track faculty, and if you add in the clinical faculty, the medical school, and other non-tenure appointments, it's more than 4,000 faculty altogether. It's the largest campus in the UC system, 5,300 acres, and because of that, we have room to grow on our campus, and we are still growing. We're one of the few UC campuses that is still taking more students. In fact, by the year 2020, we'll have grown by 5,000 students and 300 additional faculty. So it's still a very dynamic and growing place. We have a healthcare system, the UC Davis health system, which serves more than 6 million people in the Northern California region. We also have a School of Veterinary Medicine, which was ranked _1 in the world only last month by the QS ranking system, which sees more than 47,000 small and large animals at our veterinary medical teaching hospital. And we're fortunate to have a former dean who served as 15 years as the dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Benny Osborne, is with us, and Benny is one of the people who is primarily responsible for getting us to #1 in the world, and so we're very fortunate to have Benny here with us today. I might add that Benny was on my doctoral thesis committee when I was a student 35 years ago, so if I'm trouble, you can blame him for passing me and getting me through. And the system has a rather large endowment. Now we're growing very rapidly. We have about $1 billion endowment, which provides funding and scholarships and funding for research for our many students, graduate students and undergraduate students. As I already mentioned, we do have a #1 ranking in the world in veterinary science. We're also ranked #1 in the world for teaching and research in agriculture and forestry. And among all of the public land grant, all the public universities in the United States, we're currently tied with our sister campus, UC San Diego, as the 9th best public university in the United States. And if you look at total research dollars in the figure, in the lower part of that figure, we rank 14th among the public universities and 22nd of all universities in the United States in total research funding. As you can see in the lower chart, this has been an explosive growth, actually, in research. In a 10-year period, the campus has doubled its extramural research support. We reached a peak in 2012-13 of $754 million. We've dropped a little because of sequestration and budget cuts, but we're on the way back up, and we may actually exceed our best year in 12-13 this year. Things have really turned around. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot of the campus. As Paul mentioned, one of the things that we do really well at Davis is interdisciplinary research, collaborative research. It's a place where the walls between the disciplines are easily broken, primarily because we have these interdisciplinary graduate groups that bring bring graduate students together and faculty in all unique combinations, nearly 100 different graduate groups. And right now you can group sort of our major focus areas really for the next 5 years are in the areas of food, water, society, health, energy, environment, transportation, materials, and the disciplines all intersect to do interdisciplinary research and all impacting all of those areas. And you might recognize many of these areas, of course, because these intersect with, you know, sort of global grand challenge areas and many of the centers, in fact, that FAPESP funds in São Paulo. And so there's a very natural affinity between much of what goes on at UC Davis and what goes on here in São Paulo, and that's funded by FAPESP. So in the next 2 days, we're going to be covering quite a few topical areas, some complementing the areas we covered during FAPESP week at UC Davis. We're going to be talking, we have several talks in the energy and transportation area. In this area, we have really amazing strength that bridges several academic departments, such as biological and agricultural engineering, civil environmental engineering, with many interdisciplinary centers. One of the most well-known centers is the Institute for Transportation Studies, which is directed by Professor Dan Sperling, who can't be with us. Professor Sperling won the Japan Prize, the Blue Planet Prize last year, which was given by Japan. It's a $500,000 prize and a very prestigious award, and he directs the Institute for Transportation Studies, which has several allied centers, including the Plug-in Hybrid Electric Vehicle Center, the Western Regional Cooling Center, Center for Energy Efficiency, and several others. We have research going on in all areas of renewable research: geothermal, solar, biomass. We're fortunate to have Professor Rihang Zhang with us, who's going to talk about her work on a biodigester that she has designed and that is operational in Davis and in other locations in California, and now I believe throughout the world. So we have wind energy as well, and hydro, all research being conducted at UC Davis. Of course, hydro is very important here in Brazil. So in sustainability, the campus itself, because of its effort, is ranked by several different ranking agencies as #1 in terms of green universities and 4th worldwide. One of our showcase projects is this community which is called West Village, which was the first designed zero net energy community in the United States. So the community was designed to produce as much power as it consumes, and my understanding is that we're actually getting very close to achieving that. People didn't realize when they designed it just how many portable devices students bring with them when they move into these communities, and computers and laptops and plug-in devices. And I guess the reason they weren't able to achieve zero net energy was because they didn't anticipate actually the number of plug-in devices that students would be bringing. But we have more than 2,000 students living in this community now. We're adding housing for faculty as well. And there's an adjacent biodigester that was designed by Professor Zhang, and she'll probably tell you much about that produces biogas. The community itself produces 4 megawatts of energy, more than we actually use, and the excess can be returned to the power grid. And just most recently, a few years ago, the Honda company gave a $10 million gift to the university to design a zero net energy house, which is really a wonderful addition to West Village. And for example, the house is designed to store the solar energy within the battery of the car that parks in the house, and so the evening the car can then, the battery of the car can then use the solar energy stored in the battery of the car to power the home in the evening. And so there's really a lot happening in sustainability. I couldn't begin to tell you all the things going on in water and environment. We have Professor Jan Hopmans here, who will probably discuss this. But we like to say that we have research in water and in the environment that spans the Sierras, the high Sierras, which are about 100 miles from the campus, to the sea, to the Pacific Ocean, which is about 70 miles. So we have programs that go from the mountains through the great watershed in the Sacramento Valley and out into the ocean. As Professor Krieger, Dr. Krieger mentioned, we have an NSF IGERT in climate change, water, and society, and we have many interdisciplinary centers, the Watershed Sciences Center, and which has done some amazing work in mapping the entire water system of the state of California, and suffers from many. Of course, California is also suffering from a drought, much like São Paulo, and so we have many issues which we share, and I believe we can learn from each other. We also have a marine biology lab that's out on the coast, Bodega Bay Marine Lab, that does world-class research in studying the effects of global climate change on the ecology, on the coastal ecology around the San Francisco Bay area. So much there. Of course, much in agriculture, food and health. We have some leading programs in food safety and security, and I think Dr. Osborne will address some of our efforts in food safety, health, wellness, and nutrition. These are programs that are in combination between, in conjunction with the medical school and the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, especially in the area of human nutrition, where we lead the world in many areas. And the integration of ecology and environmental sciences, environmental issues. We have quite a large program in food policy. We have programs in international food, international nutrition, community and international nutrition, and in resource economics. And again, the college itself has many programs ranked in the top 10 in the country. So many centers, I think more than 35 different centers dealing with food, and because of that, several years ago the Chancellor and administration decided to form a new structure. You're going to hear a lot about it, the World Food Center. Josette Lewis will be arriving tomorrow morning to discuss the World Food Center, which sort of brings under one umbrella all of our centers dealing with food and sustainability. And as you can see, there are many of them at Davis. We also have a large effort, actually our largest undergraduate majors with the most students are in the social sciences. We have social sciences and humanities under our College of Letters and Sciences. We have a division of social sciences that includes economics and linguistics and history, sociology, political science, and communication, and then a division of humanities, arts, and cultural studies, and together, actually the first program that we have with FAPESP, our first seed grant program, was established for work in the social sciences and has brought together many FAPESP, actually I think 3 groups in the first round, FAPESP funded investigators with investigators, faculty at UC Davis and across these areas. And it's been a very successful program, I might add. In the physical sciences, again, we're very fortunate to have with us today the interim dean of the Division of Math and Physical Sciences, Alex Navratsky, and she's going to be telling you about some of her work and the work of her colleagues. But we have, again, some world-class programs there. One in particular is led by Professor Tony Tyson. He leads the LSST, the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope, which is the largest astronomy project going, largest telescope project going in the United States today. And again, moving from the mathematics and physical sciences across the spectrum to the biomedical sciences, UC Davis hosts one of only 41 comprehensive cancer centers, NIH-designated comprehensive cancer centers in the country. We have efforts in genomics and genetics, and the state of California has just recently announced a new program in personalized medicine, and we have some new people that have been hired, and we are really aggressively pursuing an agenda in personalized medicine, using some of our really unique resources, for example, in telehealth and telemedicine, which will make the delivery of personalized health information to physicians around the state and around the country a reality in a relatively short period of time. We also have tremendous programs in imaging. We're fortunate to have two of our faculty here today, Professor Laura Marcoux and Professor Julie Sutcliffe, who are involved in imaging and biophotonics and will be giving talks during the next 2 days. And we have a very large cluster of faculty involved in the neurosciences. Of course, most of you are aware this is one of now the national grand challenges. The BRAIN project under the Obama administration has defined this as a new grand challenge. We'll be investing several $100 million nationally over the next few years, and we at UC Davis are uniquely aligned to take advantage of this program. We're fortunate to have Professor Cam Carter with us today. Cam is the director for one of our major centers, the Center for Neuroscience, and Cam leads a very impressive institute. One of the programs that Cam directs is this program here, which was a large grant given to UC Davis, a Research Center for Behavioral Health, grant given by the state of California, and most recently in the last month was awarded a $10 million grant from the federal government, from the NIH. It's called the Conti Center, which beautifully complements the work that's being done in this new state-funded center. We're very excited about that. We have three actually other major centers. One is the Center for Mind and Brain, another is the Mind Institute. What's the other one, Cam? There's one that Center for, there's not a third one that has mind and brain in it. It's neuroscience, okay, sorry. Yeah, and these are interdisciplinary institutes, all interdisciplinary institutes working in various areas of memory and cognition and autism, schizophrenia, number of behavioral and mental health disorders, and we're going to hear a lot about this in Cam's talk. So at the Office of Research, which I direct, we also fund new initiatives. We seed interdisciplinary initiatives across the campus. I guess our flagship program is called the Interdisciplinary Frontiers Program, and it has two subcomponent programs. One is called RISE, which is Research Investments in Science and Engineering, and the second is the Interdisciplinary Frontiers Program in the Humanities and Arts. These two programs are funded with about $14 million internally. Began about 3 years ago, and these programs, we have 13 programs, different programs in the RISE initiatives, and 7 in the Interdisciplinary Frontiers in Humanities and Arts. And these are relatively new programs, but they're already having a tremendous impact on our campus. Again, in the grand challenge areas, agriculture, health, energy, and big data, they are highly interdisciplinary. They go to only teams of faculty. 81 faculty are involved in the RISE themes, in the 13 RISE themes alone, from 36 different departments, 9 schools and colleges across campus, and involve more than 126 graduate students. So success has been very good. This is data, these are data from just a couple of months ago, but we're now approaching actually 9 or 10 to 1. We have several new grants where we're up at about 90 million. So this investment, which will approach by the end of the year about 10.6 million for the RISE program, has been turned into already at $80 million in external competitive funding. And we still have approximately 40 grants with $140 million of grants pending. So we're very pleased with this program. Dr. Paul Dodd has worked with me in developing and implementing this program, and it really shows the kind of things that we can do when we break down the walls and just have a very bottom-up organic process for identifying new campus initiatives. And this is sort of a model, we believe, which will be very successful for our campus in the future. We also have tremendous impact, and this is my last slide. It's not the greatest slide, but it's very colorful. But it shows you the economic impact that we have in our region. The University of California, Davis, has a budget of $4 billion a year. About half of that is with the health system. And in the surrounding economic region, a study has been done, shows that 2 years ago we had an economic impact in our region of about $7 billion. And that's in jobs and services. And one of the things that I think we're getting a lot better at Davis is knowledge transfer and doing startup companies. Since 2004, there's been about more than 40 startup companies. In the last 10 years, we've done more than 60 startup companies out of UC Davis. Many of them have become highly successful. We also have one of the most successful licensing programs among the UCs. We generate about $14 million a year in licensing revenues. Our top licensing product, believe it or not, is strawberries. More than half of the strawberries consumed in the state of California are produced from germplasm bred at UC Davis in the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. So I think I've tried to give you sort of this very broad scope of our activities from our research funding through our basic research and through our impact to California, the nation, and the world. And we are very, very proud of our collaborations and partnerships with scientists here in São Paulo. And Brito, I think you may want to stand up here with me. Thank you. One more.
Slide, we have a joint.
We have an announcement. Come. So we're going to make an announcement now about the future of our collaboration. Brito? Go ahead. Okay, so as Professor Brito mentioned in his introduction, we already have a very strong program of collaboration. It's called FAPESP UC Davis Collaborative Research Program that we fund for the humanities and the social sciences. And building on the success of that program, we have agreed to expand that program into the sciences, engineering. And we're very happy to announce a new program with FAPESP and scientists at UC Davis and São Paulo. And we're intending to fund 10 projects, co-fund 10, provide seed funding for 10 projects over a 2-year period with $10,000 provided to each team on each side for a total of $20,000 per year or $40,000 over a 2-year period to stimulate some new activity between universities here and UC Davis. So Brito,
great. Very good.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Harris, for this great presentation, for the announcement about the program that we are going to develop together, UC Davis and FAPESP. And really, your presentation was inspiring for us because it shows the strategy of a university that works as a university, not as several schools separated by walls or by disciplines and so on. And that's the kind of presentation that I believe can be an interesting example and an interesting motivator for our best universities here in the state of São Paulo, especially the way you have the centers which are problem-oriented, right? Yeah. It's really very, very, very interesting. And it's going to be a great opportunity for scientists in the state of São Paulo to collaborate with colleagues at UC Davis. So, thank you. So I'll be brief in closing this session, but I want and I must thank our colleagues, the extensive delegation of researchers and professors from UC Davis that came to participate in this workshop. Thank you very much for finding the time to be here and to be able to discuss with us about future collaborations. Thank you, Harris, for putting the effort into gathering this strong delegation. And I should also especially thank Paul Dodd and Marcelo Nobel. Marcelo, stand up a moment there. Yeah, who together, Marcelo and Paul put together the program for this event and several activities. Thank you. And finally, I wish you 2 days of good work and good interactions in looking for opportunities to develop research collaborations between UC Davis and scientists in universities and research institutes in São Paulo, Brazil. Thank you very much. Have a good workshop.